So to add color into this, what I'm going to do is, this is where I said we'd be using a water-based medium. So you can see I have a watercolor set here. Also, if I don't have paint supplies, washable markers would work because those are water-based as well. All right, so I'm going to start adding color to my crystals first. So I probably want to lean towards sticking with a certain color scheme. So maybe sticking with all warm colors, all cool colors. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some blue on here. I think I'm going to start with that. And I'm going to start painting one of the faces or facets of the crystal. But you notice where I'm doing that, where I did the white crayon, it does not let the paint actually stick to it. And I want to actually put this color, I don't want to just use it in one place. So to create a sense of unity, I want this blue to show up in different places. Down here I'm doing a little darker just because that would be turned away from the light more. There, that side, and then this side. And again, when it touches the white, you notice it's not absorbing into the paper. So the water, or the crayon wax, is acting like a resist for the water-based paint. It is resisting letting it stick to the paper. So once I've scattered this one color around in a few different areas, this makes it look like everything sort of seems to belong together because I'm repeating this color. You notice I went a little too dark on this, so I'm sort of taking the paint from there and putting it in other places. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce another cool color in there. So I'm going to try this purple. Now I'm going to go along here, but as you guys probably predicted, I'm going to put it in other places. I'm going to scatter this around the painting. The nice thing about these colors is, y'all can see I let that blue touch. These can blend together really well because blue actually goes into making purple. That's something we know from first grade and kindergarten art. So I'm going to go ahead and let the purple paint just sort of mingle and blend in with the blue. So I'm spreading this around in different areas. Of course, if I want something darker, I have to add more of the paint color to it. I think some of the blue I could go darker, starting at the parts that kind of come out of the rock formation. So I'm really playing around with the value of the colors that I'm using. I'm going to let, because these colors would start to reflect onto each other, so I'm actually going to take my clean brush, and if you notice, I'm pulling some of that blue into the purple, and do the same thing over here. I'm just going to let that kind of happen. Now another way to get my crystals to actually look like they're sparkling, I'm letting you guys think about this before I say it. We've done this in some of our other paintings lately, is I can do something that will pick up paint back off of the paper. So what I'm going to do is get some salt, which is at my next table, so I got to grab it. And if you're using a salt shaker, you can aim it right on those crystals, but in this case I have this big can here. So I am going to put it in my hand first, then I can actually be more direct with where I put it. So if you've noticed, we've done a few projects using salt as a way of interacting with the watercolor paint. And the reason for that is I want you to see that there's different ways of using it. We've used it to have a snow effect in our snow globe painting. We've used it to make it look like stars in the sky. Now I'm making it look like shiny parts of the crystals. So while the salt is doing its thing, I don't want to just sit here. So I'm going to keep working. So I said before you could be using water-based markers. So let's say that, actually I think I'm going to go with brown. I'm going to put some marker in different places where I've created this texture. So I'm not coloring the whole thing. A little kid would just color the whole thing. But then I could use a wet paintbrush. If I don't have paint supplies though, I probably don't have a paintbrush, so I'm gonna use a Q-tip. So I'm gonna wet it and then touch it to the brown marker ink. And because it's a washable ink, it lets me pull it around because the water dissolves it. And I get this nice blended effect where when I started it, it's darker because that's where I originally put the color. But as I pull it away from that part, it blends itself in and it turns lighter. So again, emphasizing a value because we want to really show that our work can have light parts and dark parts. That's how we see things in real life. So that definitely makes it look more realistic and more three-dimensional. That's how we get the effect of a form. So then I don't want to ignore my background. So I want to think, well, how could I really make the crystals pop out more? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a different color that I'm going to blend coming away from that. So let's say maybe red would be a good idea because red's a warm color, but I use cool colors in here. So if I go along the edges here, I don't want to touch it to any of the marker line that I just added with the brown or the other watercolors because I'm really trying to sort of frame this and make it pop out more. So here I'm going to do a blending effect as well, where I say, okay, I've put red on there. If I need more, I can put more red paint to make it darker. But now I'm going to wet my brush, and I'm going to pull that out from under there. And it fades it away, it blends it, so the area underneath the crystal and the rock formation seems darker, and the part away from it seems lighter. And if I want to lighten it up more, of course I can add more water. Here, the pink, it's not really contrasting with the purple and the blue in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and put more red around this part as well. And that is making it pop out. All right, so I am going to finish mine, and you are going to finish yours. All right, I look forward to seeing what you guys send me.